Welcome to Scrawls Red Carpet Module 2 Cover Design. So Red Carpet is part 3 of your Scrawls program. It's all about marketing, advertising and sales. And in this module, we're going to talk about your cover design. We're going to look at considerations of what you should be aware of in regard to coming up with a cover design. We're going to look at free services so you can do the cover design yourself, as well as how to get professional services and actually hire a graphic designer to help you out with it. So let's start with how to rock this training. You should be pretty familiar with this by now. Interact, ask, and share. So get involved in your Right Now community. Take away 3 key learnings. Use the templates that have been provided to you. And set at least 3 actions and take immediate action. And of course, allocate time and manage yourself, which is always extremely important. So in this presentation, we're going to cover the 7 steps to cover design. And so those 7 steps, let's go through them first. Step 1 is cover design considerations. So it's thinking about what you need to be aware of. And this is going to really open your mind to your thought processes around what is involved with a cover. You'll never look at a cover the same. So if you go to your bookshelf after this, you'll see things very differently. So we're going to consider things like how your book relates to the cover. So it's not just about a pretty picture, it's relating everything back. We're going to look at creating a paragraph overview. Now, in part 2 of Scrawls during Construct, we worked on the snowflake method and introduced the beat sheet. So we started looking at how you can create a sentence and then build that into a paragraph. So this is a great place to start, though we are going to build that a little bit further in relation to your cover design. Visualize is about thinking about the aesthetic aspects of your cover. So over here on the right, we have The Hobbit, which is a little stretched out, but you still get the point. So you've got the visual aspects of The Hobbit is, you know, the mountains, the trees, etc., and also how the word Hobbit is written. So we're going to look at all those kind of things. We're then going to look at the cover design brief. Now, this is a template that's available to you to assist you with your own cover designs, as well as assist you with approaching professional service providers. We're going to do a mock-up of your cover to start getting a bit of an idea about how you would like your entire cover to appear. And we're going to explore free and professional services. As I mentioned before, how do you get, what free services are available and how do you get the professional services? And finally, we're going to look at creating your own cover. Now, we're not going to do that fully here in this training because that on its own is going to take quite a while. So there'll be additional bonus training available on how to create your own cover with something called Canva. But I'll introduce you to that briefly today. So let's start with cover design considerations. What are some of the things that you think that perhaps you need to think about with your cover? Now, if you pick up any book and look at any book, you might think, well, I probably need to consider the colors and the images and how everything interacts. Maybe I need to consider the words and the placement. Maybe I need to consider the font type. So what I want to do is actually utilize a professional in this space. So with this one, I'm throwing it over to an expert. So I would have loved to have shared this directly in this presentation with you. However, it proved not to be very efficient. So what I'm going to do is ask you in a moment to stop this video. So be prepared for that. I'll introduce you for this next step, and then I'm going to ask you to stop this video and go and watch a YouTube video. Okay? So why I'm throwing this over to an expert is because nobody says it better than this particular person. His name is Chip Kidd. He's a graphic designer. He's been in this industry for many, many years. He designed the book cover of Jurassic Park, and he goes through in this video, which is a TED Talk video, he goes through and explains how his process works for coming up with books. And he shows you examples of books that came to him and then how he was able to recreate that book based on the title, based on the content, and based on the feeling that was required, the message, etc. So it's a really great video. The link to it is right there, and it's also going to be available as a link in your program. So what I'd love to do is stop this for a moment. So just press pause, go over, watch the YouTube video. It only goes for 17, 18 minutes. And once you're done, come back and we'll take it from there. Okay, I trust you enjoyed that. I trust that you didn't just keep listening to this and you actually stopped it and went and watched the video. If you didn't, oh my God, please do that now because it's quite amazing. Now, because you have obviously done that now and watched it, you get the gold, 17, 18 minutes worth, but oh my goodness, the gold that he was able to share in regard to considerations around your cover, from image to relating everything back to message and back to the crux of what your book is. Absolutely amazing. I trust you enjoyed it. Let's move on to step 2. Step 2 is to do the paragraph overview. Now, as I mentioned before, you would have done a paragraph overview while you were working on the Snowflake, utilizing the Snowflake method within the beat sheet. So first of all, take that paragraph, or if you want, just create a new one, either way. But I want you to first of all start with writing one paragraph overview of your book. And consider these things. Include your message, include your solutions, include your intentions. So link it all back to the intentions that you did in part 1 of this program, and link it to your brand. Now, if you haven't watched module 1 of Red Carpet, of this section of Scrolls, please go back and watch that. It was all about branding, and it will definitely help you and assist you with this particular section of the program. So once you've done your paragraph overview, here's the next step. Spend an hour and rewrite it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again until you really have it nailed, until the message, the solutions, intentions, and your brand are really clear in there. The reason we say to do this is, with the Snowflake method, the methodology around that is firstly to spend an hour creating that one sentence, then spend an hour creating the paragraph, and then spend an hour going to the next level. And it works up like that. So right now, what I'd love you to do is take an hour to rewrite this paragraph until you have it nailed. Now, this paragraph is going to assist you with creating your own cover design, and it's also going to be something that you'll send to any professional services so that they can get a really clear understanding of what you want to achieve with your book, and therefore need to bring across with your cover. So remember that your cover is the first thing your readers see. It needs to appeal to them. So therefore, by linking it with your message, your solutions, your intentions, and your brand within that cover, they're more likely to go into your book. Because if your ideal reader is looking for the message, and you show just a little bit of it on the cover, they're going to read your book. Trust that makes sense. Let's go into step 3. This is visualize. This is where you start gathering. So it's like a vision board of your cover design. Okay. So this is not final cover. This is not actually putting together your cover at this stage. This is just collecting cues. So gather logos, whether it's yours or somebody else's. Gather images, gather quotes, gather graphics, and gather fonts. Anything that relates to your book. This is an opportunity for you to start visualizing the aspects. So think about, with all these things, logos, images, quotes, graphics, fonts, think about how your intentions, how your message, how all of those things, your solutions are communicated through the logos, images, quotes, graphics, and fonts that you choose. As an example, if you look at fonts, so if you look at this font up here where it says visualize, it's a little bit more clean, it's a little bit more controlled. If you look at over here where it says visualize, and it's in Curls font, I believe that's Curls font, it's a bit more fun, playful, and kind of unruly. So it gives you a different feel. That's what I'm talking about. So you want to gather fonts that contribute, or that communicate the feel of your book. So gather quotes, logos, images, graphics, fonts that communicate the feel of your book. Oh, oops, sorry, something just a little bit odd happened there. Let me come back to my page. Oh, interesting. Bear with me a sec. I just need to go back pages. My back page and front page just stopped working all of a sudden. Anyway, okay. So once you've gathered those all together, like I said, it is a vision board of your cover. Okay, I trust that makes sense. If you don't know what a vision board is, Google it, look it up. But this is the purpose of it. This is not necessarily something you will ever show anyone. This is not a mock-up of your book at this stage. It is literally just a board of visualization of what you want to be communicating in your cover. So we'll move on to the next step, which is the cover design brief. Now, this template is available for you, and strongly recommend that you do utilize it. This cover design brief is to assist you to collate your information for both yourself and potentially for professional services. So it includes going through, and there's a section there for your one paragraph. There's a section there for if you want to include colors, if there's a particular coloring that relates to your brand, etc. And it also has here author/pen name. And I want to touch on this one very quickly. So your author/pen name should be consistent with your brand, particularly if this is a business-based book that you're writing. Okay. So if it's fiction or whatnot, then rock forth. Your brand is your name. So however you bring that across, it needs to be consistent across all your books. So if you actually have a business though, and your book is part of your business, your branding needs to be consistent across the brand and the book. So what I mean by that is, if on your business, so for me, Karen McTackett, if my business says Karen McTackett, my branding will be Karen McTackett. If my business says K McTackett, then my branding, for my book, for my name will be K McTackett, which will become a pen name because it's obviously not my full name. So still my real name though. I used to write under the horror name of Paulie Joan. That was my brand as a horror writer, and that was my my pen name. And that had a whole story behind it, which I'm not going into. But the point is, be consistent with your brand. What you should do is select a font that's going to be consistent with your brand as well. So for me, with I Am Academy as my business brand, the I Am Academy and I Am Publications are both the exact same logo and the exact same font, because that's my branding. Okay. Then on my books, with my name being Karen McTackett on my books, it's the exact same font on every single book that I publish. Okay. So yeah, those are just some considerations around author name, pen name. You can do full name, you can do initials, you can do something completely different. However, ensure that it links back to your brand if applicable. If not, if you're developing a brand, ensure that is the basis of your brand that you're developing. So I'm not going to go through this full cover design brief. I highly recommend you do that after this training session. Go through it. If you have any questions, jump on your Right Now community and ask the questions in there so that we can all help you out. The next step is the mock-up. Now, this is where you actually start bringing together all those things you've gone through. You bring together the visualizations, you bring together your intentions, your message, you bring together all of those early considerations, the colors, everything, and you create a visual mock-up of what your book shall be. Okay. So create a cover mock-up or collate the ideas. So you may be in a position where you've got all the ideas together, but you're still not 100% sure how it should look. And that's fine. That's fine. Just bring it all together and collate it. If you're doing your own cover design, a mock-up is essential. If you're sending it to someone else, if you can do a mock-up, fantastic. If you can't do a mock-up, at least collate the ideas and send those through, and then trust that the professional service provider is gonna nail it. Yeah. So the other thing is to use your mock-up as the basis of your own design or to send it as a professional. This is the whole point of it. As I said, if you can't do a mock-up, I suggest that you just go. If you can't do a mock-up for yourself, I recommend you just go straight to professional services, because if you can't create a mock-up, you're not going to be able to create your final design. Okay, simple as that. If you can create a mock-up, you can then go, okay, well, now I can either do this myself or go to professional services. So this step 5, is really great for helping you work out whether you're going to be able to do your own cover design or not. Okay, and over here we've got a really great example of a before and after. So this is the mock-up and this is the professional design. So you can see what the difference that it makes. You can see that this has got the elements that they wanted in there. There's certain emotions and certain things that they wanted to pull from the reader. And then this one, the professional one's just taken it to a whole new level. It's got the same emotions, but they're intensified, and it's obviously so much more aesthetically pleasing as well. And they've actually had some typography done here, which means that they've had this the actual title done in a way that's very unique to this book. Okay, you're not going to see it done that way on other books. And I wish I had a copy of another one that I've seen where the mock-up and the final result are just amazing. This is a friend of mine, Andy. He showed me a mock-up of his first book the other day, and it's the primary layout is pretty spot on, the same as the final design. But what he did in his mock-up, because he was grabbing visuals, he put faces in of famous people. So he actually got famous people's faces and put them together to represent his characters. And then he had like a large elephant in the background and blah, blah, blah. But he had like Orlando Bloom in there, and I think he had Johnny Depp or something like that. It was hilarious. But he had all these faces in there because those faces represented the strength or the beauty or this or that. They represented something that was in that character, so that the professional graphic designer had something to work with. And what the graphic designer came back with was incredible. It was absolutely amazing. So it's a fantastic cover design. And he also had the typography done. So the way that the wording is for his title is unique to his. You'll never see it anywhere else. And let me just kind of touch on what I mean by that with typography. Harry Potter, for example, when you see Harry Potter written, you know it's Harry Potter. When you see Star Wars written, you know it's Star Wars. What I mean by that is, if somebody took the Star Wars font and wrote something else, you would still recognize that font as Star Wars. It's a Star Wars font now. Does that make sense? So you can probably think of a lot of other examples. I'm looking at my DVDs that I've got not too far away from me, and there's so many that have used typography, actually most of them, all of them probably. But things like triangle, where the A has been turned into a triangle. Things like A Million Ways to Die in the West, where some of the words have been shrunken down and others have been intensified. What else have we got? 127 Hours, where the color change has been put in there to kind of will indicate quite a few things. So it's got the naturalness, but also the change throughout the time frame. So that's what I mean by, and right, Planet of the Apes, that's another great one actually. That's what I mean by typography though. It's directly, it can be associated with a particular brand, okay? So when I'm talking about, so Star Wars is a brand. So the typography is associated with Star Wars as a brand. So that is why, as I mentioned before, I use the same font for my name every time, because that's part of my brand and that keeps the flow. So for this one here, they should, for every book that this person writes in the future, he should always have this, and this is obviously pen name D.E. Bosc. So he should have that same font every time. This may change for the title because it will be based more on what the book wants to convey. I trust that makes sense. So let's move on. Number 6, exploring options. This is where we're going to start having a look at the free options that are available to you versus the paid options that are available to you. So free options, number 1 is Canva. Now this is the one that I'm going to do the additional training on to show you how to do your cover design, or how to create your own cover. Another one is Adobe Spark. Now, I'm not familiar with this one. I haven't used it, but I have heard of it, and I have heard it's really good. Similar to Canva in that you've got the templates and you can create your own design in that, but I haven't used it. Rock forth if you want to give that one a try. Also, if you just Google free cover templates. Now, I would highly recommend that you go with free cover templates as opposed to free cover designs. The reason is a free cover design will be available for other people to have, and you wouldn't be able to change it. A free cover template is a basis that other people can have, but you can change it to make it unique to you. You don't want your book looking the same as anybody else's, yeah? Even if just the title's changed, it's still going to look the same. You don't want that. So you want to make as many changes as you can to make it unique to you. So free cover templates, Google that. It's a great way to find them. You'll probably have a Canva and Adobe Spark come up for both, for that search. Another option for freebies is family and friends. And I think a lot of people forget this. So I'll give you an example. I did a mock-up of a cover design where I had a general idea of what I wanted. I knew I wanted a guy on a picnic blanket, and I wanted a girl with a knife behind her back with like a strawberry on the end of it. And so I mocked that up. I found a picture of a picnic blanket. I found a picture of the guy lying down. I found a picture of the woman with a hand behind her back. I found a picture of the knife. I found a picture of a background that I wanted. And I mocked it all together. And then I sent it to my mother, who is an artist, and she drew a picture from that. So she drew/painted a picture created from the mock-up that I did. So friends and family are a great source, especially, you know, if you've got a graphic designer in your family, or you've got someone who's, even if you just have someone who's extremely visual and you're not, that's a great source. Ask them their opinion, ask them if they can give you a hand. And the other great free option exploration is new designers. Now, with new designers, what I'm talking about is people that are just starting out, like maybe first year uni students, or maybe freelancers that have just decided to go into their own business. So these are people that they have the natural talent, they have the skill, they're still learning, and or they don't yet have the backing of, you know, reviews, referrals. They don't yet have the proof and evidence behind them to say that, you know, to grow their business. So you can help them out. You're doing them a favor by saying, hey, if you help me out with this, I will make sure I do a review for you, a referral for you. I'll do this, I'll do that. And that's a really great way, because you're helping each other out. You're getting the services for free or for cheap, and they're getting something for it as well. Now, what I will say is, if you take this approach, do follow up and do whatever you can to help that person out, okay? They're starting out, do everything that you can. Now, a great way to find those, a great place to find those people is under the professional options. I've got two places here, Fiverr and Freelancer. These are where you can find freelancers. Now, great place to find new designers is here, particularly Fiverr. So fiverr.com and freelancer.com, or it could be .com.au. But they're both really great to find freelancers that will work with you to create your cover. With Fiverr, as an example, I'll speak of Fiverr because I'm much more familiar with it. When you go on as a new designer, you don't have any star rating. So what you'll tend to do is, as a freelancer, put your charge rates down a little bit lower. So here's the thing with freelancing. And I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna back it up with something else. You get what you pay for, except with a new designer. Okay, so you get what you pay for, which means that if it's a lower rate, you're probably going to get lower quality. If it's a higher rate, you're probably going to get higher quality. There's two places where that doesn't sit, and that's at the extreme ends of the spectrum. So one end of the spectrum is the brand new people that have come on that can't compete with those that already have a ridiculous number of reviews. So they drop their fees. This is a great place to find gold. So they're cheaper. They're looking for reviews. They're looking to get as much work as possible to build up their community ASAP. And they're quite often the people that are extremely talented. They're likely people that are going to go on down the track to have a really great successful career as a freelancer and to have 500 plus 5-star ratings. Not necessarily. They could also be crap. However, they're a cheaper option. So the risk, it's a risk, but the risk is minimized through the charge rates that they offer. Have a look a little bit further into them, see if they've got, you know, education experience, etc. The other end of the spectrum are the people that have been around for a while and have lots of star ratings, and they have high star ratings like 5 stars, 4.8, 4.9, 5. Those are the two ends of the spectrum you want to work with. I would recommend not working with anyone in between that. The reason is everyone in between that has been working for a while and hasn't necessarily been producing the highest quality work, hence why their star rating is a bit lower. So I would not tend to work with someone that has any reviews, apart from the new people. Okay, I wouldn't work with anyone that has reviews of between, say, 10 to 300 and their review rating is less than 4.5. I wouldn't work with those people, because the people starting out that only have 10, if they've already got 4.5, that's a concern. And if they've been working for a long time and they've only got 4.5, that's a concern. Anything less than that, I'm not going to touch. So I'll work with people on either end of the spectrum that have 0 ratings or only have very, very few. If they've got, say, 2 ratings, but they're both 5-star, awesome. Okay, so new designers, which are going to be a cheaper option and a little bit more risky, as opposed to the other end is the ones that have a lot of reviews, have been doing this for a long time, might be a little bit more expensive, but also have a lot of different options. So what you find on that level is they also have options so that you can opt in at a cheaper rate, or you can pay additional and get the premium services. So those are the two ends of the spectrums I work with when I'm looking at freelancers. Now the freelancers do all the work, so you send them the details, you send them the design brief, okay, and then they'll come back, and then you've got, most of the time you've got an option to say yes, no, or this is not quite what I wanted, or this is what I wanted, and you can work with them to get the right cover that you want. What you want to look for when you're looking for a freelancer, you want it to give you options for reviews. So what's the word I'm looking for? They can't, so basically they send it to you, you have a look at it, you send it back, and they redo it. Okay, so a couple of do-overs. I can't remember the word they use. Now the other options is these ones. These next two are the bookcoverdesigner.com or 99designs.com.au. These are places where you can get covers that are already made. Okay, the complete cover's already done. All you do is pop in your name and pop in your book, your title, and it's done. They're a one-off, so once you buy it, nobody else can get it. Book Cover Designer is a lower rate. The 99 Designs, I believe they start from $389. So it's not a cheaper option at all, definitely not a cheap option, but you know whatever you purchase from there, nobody else is going to have, okay? So check those out. The downfall with these is that you don't really get to choose the fonts, you don't get to choose the images, you get a design that's already done. But the beautiful thing is there's thousands. So you can jump on there and you can just go through them, and if something jumps out and you go, that's the one, grab it, buy it, and it's yours. Awesome. So the other option is to Google pre-made book covers. Remember to, if you're going to do this, only get paid ones where it's guaranteed that nobody else is going to have that book. If you get pre-made book covers for free, it means, you know, there's a whole bunch of other people running out there with the same book cover, and you don't really want that. So this is one that I created, Love Life and Evisceration, and I created this myself using Canva, which is the one that I'm going to show you how to use in another training. So with this one, I actually used a template from Canva, but I changed the image, I changed the fonts. The only thing that really stayed the same are these white boxes here, which I changed the sizes and moved. And I think the fact that there's a line there. Apart from that, it's yeah, completely what I've created. Now the image is an image from Canva, so there could potentially be somebody out there with a similar book cover, but I've changed so many elements that it's really, 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 really unlikely. And I'll show you how to do that when we go through Canva. So design your own cover using Canva, and like I said, we'll go through that. What you'll do with Canva, this is just a quick overview of how to use it, is you'll go into book templates. So when you log in to Canva, there'll be an option to explore templates. You click on that and you click on book covers. So what you're looking for when you're looking for a template in Canva is not the image, not the words, not even the font. You're looking for a general layout. You're looking for something like a kickboard. So you're looking for something to kick off from. You're looking at something to get you started. That's it. You want to change as many elements as possible. Also in Canva, you can do the back cover. So what I like doing is I like taking the front cover and using a component of that to create the back cover, and then entering my information on that, whether it be reviews, etc. And we'll show you how to do that in the video, in the later training as well. Now, this is a link that I'd love to share with you. It's a spine width calculator. So when you do your cover, you do your front cover, you do your back cover. But how big's your spine supposed to be? Okay, you can do your front cover and your back cover now if you know what trim size you're using. However, the spine, you're really not going to know until you actually know how many pages you have at the end. Because as much as you plan, until you've finished it, you're not really going to know how many pages you've got in there. So the good thing is, though, you can do this kind of at the end. But you can definitely start doing the front cover and the back cover right now. And what you can use is this spine width calculator to work out how wide your spine should be so that you can then create the spine as well. Okay. Another option that makes it a little bit easier, and I would recommend going with this, is using the CreateSpace cover template. Now, you don't need to have an account with CreateSpace. You don't need to log in to utilize this service. Now, what this service does is you go in there, you put in there your page number. Again, this is one that you can't do until you know how many actual pages you have. So you put in there your page number, you put in there the page color, whether it's white or cream paper, you put in there your trim size, and it will actually spit out for you, it will give you a document, an editable document, which is a template for your cover to use in CreateSpace. Now, we haven't gone into CreateSpace yet, but this is what you'll use down the track when we get to Loud and Proud to publish your book. Okay, so this template is your fast track way to create a cover that is going to be the perfect fit for your book to be published. Pretty cool, right? So I'll show you more when we do the cover design in relation to this as well. So it gives you an image that has an edge around top, bottom, etc., so that you're not accidentally getting any of your words or images cut off. It's got in there also a barcode area, so you know exactly where the barcode will be inserted, so you can ensure you leave that open. And it's all sized perfectly. It's fantastic. So definitely use this. So next steps, where to next? Ask, interact, and share with the tribe. You already know that. So head on over to the Write Now community. Let them know what you've learnt. If you've got any questions that's come up, that's the place to go. Write down your 3 key learnings. So I trust that as we've gone through this, you've taken down your 3 key learnings. Write down your 3 actions. Now, with your 3 actions, benchmark them and set a date. So how will you know you've achieved that action, and when do you plan on doing it by? Allocate time and manage yourself, as always. And know your outcome without attachment. Okay, remember to have the flexibility, because as you grow, your outcome will change, and that is amazingly awesome. So the next module that we'll be doing is module 4, book title. So we're actually going to go a little bit deeper into creating the perfect book title for your book. So I'd love to know, what did you feel? What did you learn? What did you love? And most importantly, what are you going to do right now?